Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Google Digital Garage live streaming event. So today we're going to talk about find customers with Google Maps and Google Business Profile. So my name is Chummy, and I'll explain a tiny bit about myself in a second. But please get involved with this live session. We've got Annie on the background, and she'll be helping with the moderation. Now, if you're new to YouTube live sessions, you need to sign yourself into your account to be able to partake in the chat box. But please get involved by typing in your details into the chat box. If you are already logged in. If you're not logged in, you need to log in through into the YouTube, and then you've got access to be able to communicate with us. So as I said, my name is Chummy, and I'm from Google Digital Garage, and there's Annie in the background, who's an exceptional trainer, just like myself, who's here to help with our any questions, comments, answers, that kind of stuff that you want to interact with. This is live, so we'd like to hear what you've got to say and that kind of thing. So with that in mind, just keep it on moving. We're here with a whole series of different webinars, and underneath the description here on this channel, you can find out more about the kind of stuff that we do at the Google Digital Garage. But today, as I said, we're going to be talking about finding customers with Google Maps, and of course, that is all linked into the Google Business Profile. So as I said, before I just kick off, just reminding people, if you want to, and we really do like to get comments from you and see what's happening, who's online, that kind of stuff, please enter your details in the chat box, say hello to Annie and myself, and or if you have any difficulties, just refresh the page of the YouTube channel, or just go into the account details and type in your account, and then you get access to enable you to communicate with us. So as I break it down, what we're going to go through today, and we've got about an hour or less than an hour now to go in through all the kind of aspects of it, but we're going to talk about how to create a Google Business Profile. And if you're not familiar with the Google Business Profile, we'll find out what that is, how you go about getting it, and that kind of stuff. But of course, quite clearly, this is all about getting visibility on a platform such as Google Search and other search engines. Then we're going to talk about optimizing your Google Business Profile, the things that you can do online and the things that you can do in terms of the variables available to you to gain that visibility and make it more relatable to your audience that may be finding you on Google Business Profile. And finally, what we'll do is we'll talk about how you can manage your Google Business Profile, the things that you can do to, well, get yourself better noticed by people who are searching for the services and products that you may want to be delivering. Right, as I said, and Annie's already put it down in the chat box, so if you wish, please put down where you are, your name and that kind of stuff, because it makes it much more personable for myself and for Annie to get in, engaged with the people that are listening to us and watching us. So in essence, what I'm trying to get you to do is think about your behavior and therefore your customers' behavior when you're online. Most people have one of these devices, a mobile phone or a cell phone, depending on where you are in the globe. But we're always searching for things. And, whether it be to answer a question or, in this case, talking about a business proposition and finding businesses. We may be in a new area. We may be already in the same area and looking for new things. But, for example, finding out a clothes shop, or an example here is a restaurant. Perhaps you fancy something different such as, say, Thai food or Indian food or burger compared to a pizza. So what I'd like you to think about is what you're going to do if you had to find a new place. Oh, Jan Carlos is from California is joining us. Way, Jan. So if you were going to look for a restaurant tonight, perhaps in California, perhaps here in the UK, where we're myself and Annie are based, if you were to find a restaurant, what would you do? What's the thought process you go through when you're doing a search to find a restaurant? And therefore, it could be anything from like a shoe shop to, hairdresser, any of those kind of services and products that you may be searching for. So as I said, just think about the kind of things that pop into your mind on how you go around searching for a service or a product. So, you might be typing something like Italian restaurant near me, or something like, I don't know, steakhouse in California, or perhaps closer to a location. So with that in mind, we're thinking about creating a Google business profile with all those thoughts about how to get noticed when people are searching for certain terms, and how you trigger off the kind of thing that you want people to see, which is your Google business profile. And I'll talk about how that's related or attached to your Google Maps. Keep on saying maps all the time. I'm going to get my tongue twisted if I'm not careful. So in essence, we're talking about creating a Google business profile and how that will be beneficial to you, especially if people are looking, say, on their mobile device, mobile phone or cell phone, whichever, like I said beforehand, and how they find your service and products. Now, most of us are pretty familiar, and we have behaviors that are quite normalized in terms of how we search for things online. And we type in certain keywords, and often we're out to find a solution to a problem that we've got, be it to find our way to a certain location, to that restaurant, pub, shop, or to that, what kind of reviews do they have? Are they open? Are they closed? That kind of stuff. In essence, when we're talking about finding people, when people are searching for local information, in terms of like, if you're into statistics, we're thinking about like 33%. So about a third of people looking for businesses, they're looking for business opening hours and closing hours, which makes sense, because if you want to go and see somebody or at that location, you want to know that it's open. About 32% look for where it is. Are they close enough? Can I be bothered? Do I have to drive there? Can I cycle? Do I walk? And about 27%, so it's about a third each, roughly, 27% look for reviews. You probably do the same thing. You probably won't buy anything or visit somewhere if they've got really bad reviews. Conversely, if they've got really good reviews, that might be a good reason to go there. But you might be thinking, how come they're so good? Is there something happening here? And instead, and again, with that kind of thing, curiosity is there. And then you might want to go and satisfy that curiosity by going there to find out what it's all about. Now, in terms of Google Maps is very integrated with Google Business Profile, and you can go either way from finding your presence on Google Maps and then clicking on the Manage button there, and or on Google Business Profile and entering it that way. I'll talk about this in the next few moments, but just letting you know that you're probably familiar with this kind of this image that I've got in front of you. On Google Maps, you've got your presence that turn up. This is a Google Business Profile. And in the Google Business Profile, you've got the kind of stuff that we talked about very quickly. And I'll go into that detail in a few moments. Your opening times, your closing times, the location, reviews, an address back to your website, all those kind of things. But also what you can have, as we'll discover and explore as we go on through this conversation or discussion, depending on how much you want to write, you lot on the other side of the screen. You could build in processes such as to reserve a table, to request a quote back from people, from yourself or a agency that they may be writing to. And also you can say things like, do you want to book a table with us? Do you want to send a message to us? All these are possible through the application of Google Business Profile and Google Maps. So the kind of thing that you should be thinking about, or to be mindful when you're thinking about Google Maps and Google Business Profile, well, what is it all about? Well, as I said beforehand, it's getting visibility on search for your services and products. So here we're talking about a complete profile that will help customers to find you. So, you might have your website, that's fine. You may have some stuff on social media, that's fine too. But in terms of having a listing on Google Business Profile, and therefore Google Maps, as I said, they're very interlinked and integrated. People who find you have a greater chance of engaging with you, because you know what? You're more likely to be considered reputable. By that, what I mean is you're authentic, you're trustworthy. You've got some kind of verification in terms of people leaving you reviews and other ways of getting there, and all those kind of ways that show that you are a human being behind that machine, that you're a real thing, not just like something in the background, 2D. So again, it gives you more of a chance to engage with your audience. It also makes you people want to come and visit you if you've got a physical location. So the fact that you're online and you also got a complementary kind of profile that then would allow people to find you and visit you will then create a greater sense of engagement and following. People are, because of the fact that you're going to be more trustworthy and authentic and all those things that I just mentioned 2 minutes ago, they're more likely to buy from you. It could be coming to visit you, buy a cupcake, through to I might want to buy a bicycle or a car even. And because you've got a good Google business profile, professional presence, that will lead me to make a decision during that buying process. As I said, please do put in any thoughts that you have or comments as we go through this. But as you probably realize, people, just starting off here, and now we're going to go into kind of reasons why other people have used Google Business Profile and how it's worked for them. And again, this is a way of you reflecting on the ways that the Google Business Profile and Google Maps can help you with your business ideas and your business proposition. I've got 3 examples here, and I'm going to go through each example and just talk about a couple of things that worked for them. And hopefully, with that kind of reflection, you can reverse engineer some of these ideas and think to yourself, oh, that could work for me. Not necessarily everything that works for other people may work for you, because you know what, they've got different resources, different needs, different kind of ways of promoting themselves or want to show other people what they do. So again, think about what may work for you. So I've got Levy & Co, I've got Uncle John's Bakery, and I've got also our Kids Trove. And again, like I said, I'm going to go through in a tiny bit of detail. So here we've got Levy & Co. This is a beg your pardon person who has a barbershop stroke salon in North London. Sarita, she reckons that because of her involvement in Google Business Profile and Maps, she's seen a 70% increase on online bookings. Now, she explains that probably one of these reasons is that more people came to her because of the fact that they saw her profile when they were doing a near me search, barbershop near me within a locality. And then also things like the reviews that she was getting, which I'll go on to in a few moments' time. But other things that really worked for her is mentioning things that, and we're going to go into this phrase called attributes, other things that she can stand out for, attributes such as she was a women-led organization, business, and also was LGBTQI friendly. So if I was looking for that specifically, and that attribute showed me that this is the way that I want to stand out from the rest of the crowd, I'll be attracted by that. Other things, for example, if you were like a bakery shop or a food delivery place, if you had a place that you can pick it up from, a drive-through, those are all attributes that you can highlight. Here we have Uncle John's Bakery. Now, the reason that Uncle John, again, this kind of thing worked for their shop is it gave them an opportunity to talk about the kind of stuff that was new or had changed, particularly during, say, things previous like lockdown, where communication had to be swift and clear because there was so much ambiguity around. So here we're talking about, they were able to inform people about opening times, closing times, new practices, and even talking about, new ways of buying things or the combinations that you can buy online and diversify their sales. So in essence, again, we're talking about a communication platform, which is complementary to your website and social media that you are offering. And finally, this kind of example of the Kids Trove. Again, the main purpose of kind of how it worked, why it worked, and the kind of ideas around the options available to you on the Google Business Profile, as well as the Google Maps platforms, is that you can do several things, the opening times, the closing times, more attributes that you can talk about, but also that the profiling itself in terms of the reviews that you get. If you're able to share your reviews and get people to make reviews on your services, that in itself helps people to make a decision about you. And I'll talk about that in a few more moments' time in more detail. But here we're talking about the Kids Trove, or sorry, our kids Trove, and the way that they started getting or growing their business was because they started getting really high 5-star reviews. That made a difference in people visiting them, going to see them, and buying things from them. Okay, so in essence, there are like 4 steps when we're thinking about creating a Google business profile. You go to the Google business profile page in a few moments time, and it will be posting where the page is and the support pages for that. It's slightly changed over the last few months that it's not so much app based, it's more web based now. So you've got your Google business profile actual page you can go to, click on manage, and you get access to do certain things. And or if you just do a search on a general search and your Google Maps appears, then what you can do is you click on that to say this is my business, and as long as you've got the same credentials, your account to log into your Google business profile, you can enter it that way. So there's more than one way to enter it. Philippe says, greetings, can I have a Google business map without having a physical location? I run mine from home. Philippe, absolutely you can, and I'll talk about this a little bit in a little while's time in more detail. But just because you asked that question, you don't have to have a physical location to have a Google business profile or on Google Maps. You don't have to have your location appear. When you go through this, what I'm going to talk about in the next few moments, as you create a profile, one of the options that you can decide is to have non-regional as the address. So you don't have to have a physical address on your Google business profile. Quite clearly, if you don't have an address, it's difficult to identify where you are on a map. But all this will be explained in as you go through the verification process. So with that in mind, just talking to you about the actual process itself. So you need to complete your Google business profile. And when you're talking about the business profile, here we're talking about things such as location, your address, category, website, whether you've got a phone number and a open hours that you want to share with people, and the description of your business activities. Again, I'm going to go through in detail in a few moments' time. Then you go through a verification process, and this is usually either through SMS, a short message system, texting, and or what's much more reliable is the old-fashioned postcard, where they send you a postcard. That the team from the Google Business Profile team send you a postcard. You've got a pin that allows you access to the editing part of your Google Business Profile pages, and then you can change things there. When you're thinking about your profile itself, think about your name, your address, opening hours, as we mentioned before, but also information on, say, when you may be on holiday. I went all the way through to this delicious, beautiful restaurant. It was a Caribbean, Jamaican restaurant. Traveled for about 4 miles to get there, and then discovered they were on holiday. They had a post, they had a little poster, handwritten poster on the window saying, "We're off on holiday for a couple of weeks. See you later." And I thought, man, why did this update the profile before we went there? So these are the kind of things that you can think about in terms of keeping your profile active and current. Also, other things to populate your profile is things like again, contact details, your profile, your website, as well as photos and promotional imagery, because that makes a difference. People can see, and we're very, very influenced by what we see in terms of a visual impact. And of course, we'll also talking about other aspects of people that may not be sighted, and that kind of aspect we may discover or talk about a little bit later on. But at this stage, in terms of like a visual impact, that makes a difference too, because you've got availability to upload photos. In terms of verification, what you need to do is, as I said, once you've claimed your business, so if it's a brand new business, you may already have a profile that's been set up, that's been pre-populated by all the information that Google has about your organization. If that's the case, you press verify my business, and then you get access to it through the backend panel. Then you get verified by asking them to send you a postcard and that kind of stuff. Giles asks, should photos be updated to improve credibility? Absolutely, Giles, and it follows up in video. Not only to update or improve credibility, you're also helping yourself with search engine optimization by keeping your profile current. So all these kind of things that you do make a massive difference. But just back to this verification on Google Maps, what you should be doing is getting yourself verified. And so once you get verified on Google Business Profile, you also got verification on the maps. And then that tells you what it gives you the options of what to render to display on your profile. I'm going to go through the kind of step-by-step process in 1 second. And he's just answered that question too. Brilliant. Thank you. You can decide to verify now or do it later. You know what? There's no time like the present. If you're thinking about this, it's not a difficult process. It just needs a little bit of time and effort to log in and go through the verification. If you get it done right, whenever you can, sooner the better. The more likelihood is that profile can be propagated through the internet, so you're not waiting for the updates and all that kind of stuff. So do it now whilst it's fresh in your mind, and whilst you're thinking about your business, and then as and when changes are necessary and you want to put up new photos or new opening tabs, closing tabs, update that as soon as you can, so that it's relevant to people searching for you and finding information about you. In terms of populating your big Google Business Profile, it's, as I've already mentioned to Giles, it's important to kind of keep up-to-date information there, because just like you, just think about your own behavior. You don't want to go and see things that are old and not relevant. You want to see, do a search, find something important or interesting or up-to-date, because it can give you more opportunity, more availability, all those words that I can think of, to make that engagement process just that much more satisfying. So here, when you're thinking about populating, that by populating, what I'm talking about is putting the data, the information into the different fields. Think about managing your profile by going into either doing a quick search on your company name, your profile should appear, manager's profile, and entering it that way, or the address that Annie's already printed out in terms of the Google Business Profile page itself or Google Maps. And then things to think about is like the obvious top line stuff. Opening times, closing times. It could be a long bank holiday or a long weekend where you lot may be in your local territories. It could be something to do with the festival. It could be just that you're a small organization and you're going to close for a certain period of time to go on holiday. Like I said, put that down there. Another thing that's really important, and not just because Will Smith said that back in the 1980s with Fresh Prince, keep things fresh. An 80s phrase that. But the more current the content is, the more benefits you have in terms of search engine optimization, and of course, more relevant for search results. Okay, now moving on from there, thinking about optimizing your business profile. So again, here we're talking about three main areas, and I am going to go into detail about those areas in a few moments' time. But at the top level, we're talking about include key information, which I'll define in a few moments. But if you think about these things, then the detail will follow. Think about the posts and the photos that you've got. We've already mentioned the kind of things that you can have. And I can see that you've been talking on the chat about short videos and things like that. Brilliant. And then insights, which of course leading on to analytics, which I'll talk about. So taking those three main areas and going into detail, we're talking about in terms of key information, things like what's going to get people on your website to actually engage with you, to be more aware of your services, and of course give customers what they're looking for in terms of the information and what's necessary for them to make a decision. So things like distance, things like opening times, closing times. But the important thing is, like, for example, keep in mind that certain things are really, really important. 96% of customers are more likely to visit a business that has hours of open and operation on a Google Maps results than those that don't. So, just by having that kind of thing, I know it sounds obvious, but research is showing that this is the case. 42%, there's been a 42% increase in direction requests for businesses with photos. So the fact that you have a photo, we mentioned that earlier on, that inspires people to get in touch. If it's an attractive photo of your business premises, people more likely to get in touch and say, well, where are you? How do I get there? And you know what? that old chestnut, having a telephone number still works, because sometimes you may want to, all right, they've got that, may have stuff on your website, but the fact that you've got a telephone number there, they can quickly ring you up and say, are you open? What time do you close? Do you have this special dietary needs, or that kind of stuff? They're more likely, 90% more likely to interact with you. So again, these are the kind of things that you could be thinking about when you're considering what options you want to fill out on your details of your Google Business Profile. Now, when we're talking about core information, this is the kind of thing that you'll see when you're looking at the back end of the panel. By the back end of the panel, I mean the kind of the admin, the editable part, what you can do with it. So here you could see that there's the information tab. And then from there, you can go into changing stuff on the days that you're open, close, hours of operation. And then you can also add certain things about your business. Description about your business is really important. Quite clearly, it helps with the human being seeing what you get up to, but it also helps with the search engine optimization elements of keywords and all that kind of stuff. Key important thing is, with the Google Business Profile, it's free and it's powerful. So make use of that power by keeping it as current as possible. All right. So from there, we're thinking about another option right at the beginning. As I said, when I started about the business profile, we talked about location, address, category, website, phone number, opening time, description of business. Yeah, category. Now, the reason that category is really, really important, selecting a business category, is it helps connect customers looking for similar businesses to yours. So, if you're in the automobile category, that would be something that you can compare and contrast other companies with. If you're in the hairdressing or beauty care, you can be in a certain category that then it'll be a like-for-like comparison, and then it helps with your proposition, your profile being shown appropriately. From there, if we just move on to aspects of the next thing, the attributes. So when we're talking about attributes here, again, you could see the kind of mock-up of the screen that we've got there. And then with that, you can put in certain things. I've already mentioned our friend who did the barbershop, and she put down that she was LGBTQI friendly. At the same time, there's other attributes to say, for example, here, curbside pickup, delivery. So you can put all these things like, if you don't have in-store shopping, if you didn't have a physical location that you want people to visit you, because you know what, you don't want people to come to you at 2 o'clock in the morning and ask to buy something that you don't sell at 2 o'clock in the morning, particularly. But these are the kind of things that you can do to add some extra information that's relevant to what people are searching for, and then helps them to make a decision whether to come and see you if it's a physical store, or to get in touch with you when you're open, phone, email, that kind of thing. Now, in terms of engaging post people, this is quite similar to, I suppose, social media and the kind of content writing of your website. But because it's a smaller space, and because it's probably faster paced, because somebody's in a search and then you see somebody's Google Business Profile or Google Maps appear, think about engaging posts. And in terms of engaging posts, just a couple of things to look out for. Well, 5 things to look out for. But again, some of this is kind of intuitive, and you're maybe doing that if you're on the digital landscape, doing some marketing for other kind of channels. But just bringing to your attention, since we're here talking about Google Business Profile and Google Maps, adding titles using keywords make a massive difference, of course. Describe your event in, say, 4 or 5 words so it stands out to customers. That makes a difference. A call to action, that's a phrase often used in marketing to say, what do you want people to do? So provide a call to action. A call to action should motivate customers to do what you want them to do, because you plan that in your customer journey plan. Prompt them to either buy from you, book from you, click here, visit, phone, that kind of thing. And the use of photos and videos. Quite clearly, a good quality photo. And we're going to go into this in a few slides time that explain how you can build it up, and videos that communicate what you want to, so it's congruent, so it flows with the kind of key message of your brand, your shop, your theme, that kind of thing. Descriptions are really important, because you've got about 1,500 characters to use for your post, but Are you really going to get that many people reading that much text in that kind of profile? So think about 150, 300 words that you can use to describe what you're all about, what you want people to do. You know what? Because if they're interested, they will go to your website, they will ring you up, they will come. You've got to grab people's attention and get them to do what you want them to do. And important thing about ensure posts are accurate, because you know what? Again, you don't want to be reading things with bad grammar or bad punctuation, or in essence, the wrong information. So if you have a chance, quite clearly get somebody to proofread it or just double check it before you post it out. Just read the sentences or the paragraphs that you've written to make sure that it makes sense and every post is accurate, because at the end of the day, you're representing yourself, your business, and your venture. That's good. Jan's been satisfied, so well done about the business reporting insights. As I said, now I'm just going to talk about photos and videos very, very quickly, but quite clearly, as I said beforehand, make the photos stand out, make it relevant, make it kind of, I think, well, with the photo that's on the screen right now, they call it eye candy, don't they? What's pleasing on the eye, that kind of thing. Lots of statistics to think about, but in essence, you know what? Numbers are numbers. What I try to get people to think about is the magnitude and the power of those numbers. The fact by having a photo or a video that it makes people more likely to engage is unbelievable. You know, from 40% to 90%, whatever it is. But by having a photo, an image, or a video, you can really make a difference. So with that in mind, just a couple of things to watch out for when you're taking those photos, because again, these things here, a remote control for life, some people call it, but a mobile phone or a cell phone, you've got a lot of kit for that little space. Of course, you can get yourself a proper single lens reflex camera. Digital cameras are available, but at the end of the day, think about the lighting, natural lighting, artificial lighting, what you want to show up and all that kind of stuff. It makes a difference. Do you want a soft focus or a hard focus, or, you know, a kind of a dreamy focus? What are you trying to show? Is it your product? Is it imagery in the background? Is it people having fun? How are you going to light that up and that focusing? Of course, then, especially for video, think about the editing. On phones right now, whether you have an Android or an Apple or another device such as that, a lot of free editing software already built into majority of the platforms. And of course, you've got lots of other tools, including Canva and other freely available editing software that you can put graphics, a little bit of music, and some images very, very quickly together, or just have a 30 seconds, a 15-second video that you can upload. And of course, here, when we're talking about framing, here we're talking about how you set everything up within the frame of that photo. And we'll discover that in the next few slides that we look at. Okay, so here, as I said, as if by magic, here are some slides for you to think about in terms of the images. So we've got the cross and the tick for good slides and bad slides. If you think about it, the exterior, you know, you've got one, I'm looking at the picture on the left-hand side, the top picture on the left-hand side. It shows an image of an entrance to a bar stroke restaurant. It's well lit, kind of gives you that idea that it's sunny and everything. Whereas the one below it, you're not quite sure whether it's raining, whether it's dark, and what it's all about. And again, similar to the interior, you know, quite clearly these images are there to be drastic to show what it's all about in terms of good stuff and the bad stuff. The top photo shows you what it's all about by telling you that, you know, there's a food environment, it's cozy, whereas the interior below, I mean, the fact that it's out of focus, well, I think I'll stop there, because you know what that photo is all about. And again, people at work, well, the first picture may show people working, that kind of stuff. The second picture, the person's head is being cut off in the photo. What is it actually trying to communicate? So with that in mind, let's go into a tiny bit of detail about how you could think about your photos. So here, we're thinking about exterior photos. As I mentioned very quickly, you can locate the business if you're walking down the street. So if you've got your photo and you've said that you're down this one road, whatever the road is, that's where all the trendy or not trendy, it really depend on what you're trying to market your services as. But as you're walking down there, they've already seen a picture. I don't know about you lot people, but when I've been traveling for business a little while, for a little while now. And what I always do before I go somewhere is look at Street View or Google Maps, and figure out where the location is. I even imagine walking up and down the streets and try to figure out where the food places are and all that kind of stuff. So even before I go on there, it's almost like deja vu when I get there, because I'm like, oh, there, I'm there. I don't do it too much because I like spontaneity too. I like to discover new things too. At the same time, I've got something powerful in front of me, Google Maps, that allows me to be somewhere even before I've been there to do my research. So things like this makes a difference. And of course, you know, in terms of your exterior photos, make sure that your business premises shown as in the best light, but also things like your branding, your actual name that appears, and it's focused and framed in such a way that it shows it in the best complementary way. Now, in terms of interior photos, as I said beforehand, a couple of things to look out for. Show the products that you serve. Is it a food show? Is it a clothes show? Is it a hairdressers? What is it that you actually do? And then beyond that, in terms of interior photos, again, lighting. It could be so kind of gloomy, and then you miss out the feel, what it's all about, the atmosphere. So capture that well in terms of lighting, and then of course, what do you want to show? The whole product range or selected parts, perhaps the premium end. So you're trying to drive people to the shop to discover what other kind of attributes and product range that you have. Right. In terms of photos at work, we're talking about, active photos are showing some kind of activity. So here in a barbershop, you want to see the kind of quality of surroundings, if that's important to you. And then things like, is it a sterile, very, very official, or relaxed, kind of funky place? Whatever your proposition is in terms of your business model, show that, and then try to get people's imagery into the kind of service that they'll expect when they come into your physical location. So here, in terms of Street View, for those that may need reminding, is the kind of part where you can drag that orange person into the actual map itself, and then it gives you a view of the actual location, looking through it, 360 video, a view of where you are. What you can, of course, do with the Street View is give even more information to your clients. For example, not just virtual tours around the kind of area that you're based in, but of course talk about the kind of the physical location as it is to all the other relative places that people may want to visit once they're in that location itself. As I said, I use Street View quite a lot, and all right, I might get an apartment because I've looked around the area and I'm more assured that that's the kind of area that I want to, I don't know, hire that hotel room or whatever. Or I may think to myself, actually, I don't think that's for me. But you can help people make decisions by the kind of stuff that you want to show them on your Street View. And the important thing is, of course, people can find you. Of course, certain locations are really, really easy to find. For example, number 1 Buckingham Palace Road. I think you know who lives down there. Whereas some places, I've been to places where I'm thinking to myself, goodness me, how am I going to find this? It's really, really tricky. And this is one way of course, visualizing where that location is. Right, now I'm going to quickly move on and change gears slightly, talking about the kind of insights and then moving into other aspects of the maps as well as Google Business Profile. With insights here, we're talking about analytics. And in terms of analytics, what we're talking about is the kind of the data. So here we're talking about what data is important for you to make informed decisions from. So data is the raw stuff. Put pieces of data together, then you get information. And if you put pieces of information together, then you can create reports. Insights are very similar to Google Analytics or Analytical Program. Helps you to come up with some ideas around trends, metrics, and the dimension of what's happening on that profile. So you can find out, for example, things like who your customers are, perhaps even where they're coming from, how did they find you, and what did they do when they found you? Did they actually make a phone call? Did they go to your website? And when people are actually looking you up and getting involved, is it early in the morning? Is it late at night? Is that relevant to when you're open and close? And of course, then you can get more engagement And by that, what I mean is, with the kind of knowledge of how people have found you, what people are doing with your Google business profile, if people are making phone calls to you, if they're doing certain things at certain times, that coordinates with other activities that you may be doing. So you may be running Google ads or pay-per-click campaign, Google search or search advertising. You may be running campaigns on social media paid for advertisements. When you're doing that, are people finding your Google business profile and are they reacting to it? Or is it other times that people are doing it? So you could think about this in terms of the overall marketing campaigns and how you're strategically thinking about using paid search through to awareness, through to this kind of, promoting our aspects of social media campaigns and what you're saying at what time, all that kind of thing. So you can coordinate a lot of marketing activities based on insights. You can also, by doing that, like I said, find out what your customers are interested in and then sharpen your message to those customers. So, you can find out if people are finding you directly, if it's discovery, if it's branded, are they new customers? Do you need to change your tone to adapt to a brand new segment that you weren't even aware of because you discovered by chance that there's a lot of people from a similar background or similar grouping that's found you and coming to you? You might want to appeal to that group if you haven't already thought about that in your communication process. Okay, so I'm going to quickly move on now to talking about things like managing your business profile, and then talking about Google Maps and certain aspects of Google Maps. Like I said beforehand, and like I said all the while, if you do want to type in any thoughts or comments, myself and Annie in the background, and as I can see that some of you have already been invited to Annie, brilliant for doing that, and thank you very much. But just letting you know that this is a two-way process. If you write something there, I'll see your questions, and of course Annie's there in the background to answer it typed out, and if I have a chance, I'll answer it verbally too. So we're now moving on to managing your Google business profile and how you can go about doing that and things like that. As I said, you've got your Google business profile, and if you haven't claimed it, then you can go about claiming it. Go through the manage process by pressing the button on the left-hand side, and then you go into a verification process. They send you some kind of contact form, and then once you fill that in to say that you exist, because anybody could claim it if it's available to everybody. But by going through the verification process, you show that you live at that address or you're registered to that address that the profile is based at. Then you've got availability to change things around. So as soon as you get that verification process through by pressing on manage, and that's either done through the Google business profile website page itself, or if you go to Google Maps and or do a general search and this pops up, you can press the manage your business profile, and then you've got the availability at the right hand side of that slide there to change many of the attributes and many of the options available to you. So let's consider one of the things that you might want to deal with your Google business profile. Now, if I've seen this, then I'm thinking to myself, man, that just wants me to quickly book a table, because it's taken me that one extra step further closer, rather than making a phone call or going to the website and thinking about booking, because you can build in schedule and book link there and then. And that's of course again through the manage part of the Google business profile. As I said, just to backtrack a tiny bit, get your Google business profile set up. If you haven't, then you go to the verification process. Once you apply for it, then you go to the manage page, and then when you get the manage page, you get all these options. Here we're talking about the booking option. So if you have, like, for example, a restaurant or a salon or that kind of place, where you go to a booking process, it's one of those places that you can then have the booking in kind of schedule on your Google business profile. It could also use third-party booking in systems, as well as track your bookings. So from one little, well, it's not little, but one place, you can have a lot of things done. So that's why I said it was free and powerful, your Google business profile. Now, in terms of reviews, I mentioned this to you very quickly beforehand, and I'll take a couple of seconds again to kind of push this a little bit, because reviews make a difference. You probably now never buy what I mean is engage. It's not necessarily a transactional thing, but you probably never buy anything without looking at reviews. You probably never read all the reviews, but you want to know that they have some reviews, whichever organization that you're going to buy something from, engage with. It could be all 5 stars, or it could be all 1 stars or whatever, but it'll have an influence in terms of how you make that decision, whether to do anything with those people, deal with those people, buy from those, or even visit the website. And quite clearly, the more reviews you've got, the more good reviews you've got, the better it is, not just for the human being, but also for search engine optimization. So with that in mind, just a couple of things to talk about. I mean, numbers are numbers, and numbers change. But if you think about the magnitude of what it's trying to tell you, that's really, really important. In 2021, you've got 81% of people that use Google evaluate local businesses. Now, that was up by 18% year on year. And then if you think about 98%, that's close on to nearly 100% if you think about it, read reviews for local businesses before kind of doing anything with, and popular places to review Google. In essence, what we're trying to talk about here is that Google Business Profile and the reviews that you get in Google Business Profile makes a massive difference in terms of engagement, coming across as being authentic, trustworthy, and then certain elements of, say, your customer care through to support, through to other activities that you might want to push. So with that in mind, just think about how you can go about getting reviews. There's a process where you offer your current clients a process of sending them a URL, a link, and you ask them to click on it and then send people share their review with you. They can click a review button from the actual Google Business Profile itself. You can also use things like a QR code. You can create a post there with a QR code and say, please leave us a review in your physical location, for example, as people are leaving your services, and ask them politely to click on that code using their phone, mobile device, and then they can be taken straight to your review page and they can quickly fill up a review for you. These things make a difference. And again, it's a really kind of easy step to get more visibility on search for your services. So here we're talking about a lot of things that you can use reviews for. But again, just think about how you get those reviews. If you have a happy customer, get people to send you some detailed or just some kind of feedback to tell people what they thought about your services, products. You can do that through email, you can do that through surveys, or you can send them the URL or use a QR code. You can also ask people to just go directly, as I said, onto your website, onto your Google Business Profile, rather, sorry, and then leave a review there. But the important thing is leaving people an opportunity of getting something that's doable, and they want to do it straight away. Now, in terms of the other aspect of reviews, if somebody wants to make a complaint, a very, very quick word on this. There could be a legitimate reason, there could be a misunderstanding, there could be something malicious. Don't know. But the important thing is not to be defensive, to accept that there's an issue that you need to resolve, and often take that offline and then deal with them, say, direct messaging and or email. Be personable, appreciate what the situation is, acknowledge the situation, and then explain what you're going to do with it. I tend to joke around a lot. I actually joke around a lot because I'm a very serious person. I laugh at life before life laughs at me. But I certainly won't be using humor so much if somebody wants to say something serious to me. So with that in mind, what you should be doing is that taking the comment seriously and then dealing with it. There's also a chat facility there. With the chat facility, you could turn that on and you could have lifetime chat with your the people that are engaged with you on your Google Business Profile. So again, depending on the resource of time and money and staff, this could be something that you may want to be doing. You may not be able to do it if there's only one of you and there's a whole shop to run, that kind of thing. But again, what you're trying to do with these kind of facilities is that you're giving people the opportunity to get in touch with you, which is, again, something that will encourage a better relationship, engagement, and that kind of thing. I'm just going to pause for a second because there's a question, I think. Oh, there you go. Thank Annie's already been on the case from beforehand, and Giles asked, "Can you remove complaints?" You usually get 3 comments that's on the main page of your Google Business Profile: 1 positive, 1 neutral, and 1 negative. That's to show that it's authentic, and you need to have a Google account to leave a comment or review. Now, the way I think about it, Giles, is this. When you said, can you remove complaints? Well, if you feel that it's something that you can resolve and it's legitimate that people have had that chance to say something and you've addressed it, that's the way to get over it. You can't necessarily remove a complaint unless you can show that there's something totally wrong with it. And then you have to go through the Google Business Profile support team to get that kind of advice. But on the whole, the way I'd answer that question is that if somebody's written something and you think to yourself you could handle it, so you can flip the customer over to being a positive customer and therefore an ally, and then other people reading that will think, oh man, is that the way that they handle complaints? This is a good organization to deal with, because quite clearly we are all human beings. We don't get everything right all the time, but as soon as we realize that there's an issue, we deal with it. That makes me think that the company's better than companies that don't deal with it. And thank you very much, Annie, for posting that answer there. So as I quickly go on to a couple of other things about maps, and then I'm going to pause to let you ask any questions for myself or Annie you'd like. But a couple of other things, like in terms of Google Maps, today's session we started off with lots of things, including Google Business Profile, how to optimize it. We then talked about features of maps that allow you to put in things like shopping and customer experiences and reviews and other aspects. Now, a couple of other things to think about here, and this is just kind of depending on how much you want to go into the use of maps and how you integrate that, because quite clearly there'll be lots of people on this call or may want to watch this afterwards. And incidentally, if you're not familiar with Google webinars such as this, Google Digital Garage webinars, this video stays live with the current URL that you found this webinar today for 24 hours. So if you want to go back and watch any of this through again, you can do. But just, coming back to here, some of you may use a lot of these facilities functions. Some of you may not. And you know what? It's a question of starting with the kind of stuff that works for you and then building up from there. You don't have to be doing all the things all the time. You need to be doing things that are useful for yourself with the resources that you've got. So things like the other things you can do with Google Maps is, for example, turn on local browsing into kind of local sales. So by turning kind of online sales browsing into local sales, we're talking about making consumers hopefully make decisions that much faster. And by doing searches near me. The near me search is quite clearly something that's evolved over the last couple of years to being something that people are familiar with. Chip shop near me, glass shop near me. One of the best digital marketing campaigns that I've seen in a long time was a shop, and the branding was near me. And imagine the kind of a search engine optimization that works. Anybody doing anything with near me, their shop will be shown. But again, you can convert customers if they find you on Google Maps that much quicker, if that proximity location is important. You can also drive people more, and excusing the pun, if you make your location more obvious on Google Maps. You can just press Google, do a search, your Google Business Profile appears there. You've got Google Maps, you press that, and then it already sends you kind of the satellite navigation to your location. Things like that make a massive difference. And again, a couple of other things in terms of more technical aspect of this. You could make places where drivers have to deliver things and those addresses may not be so clear. You could make that address just that much more clear in terms of people finding you on Google Maps if you're in a place where it's incredibly dense, the density of different businesses in one location. Again, this is where you can use Google Maps to the next level. And as I bring this all together, other aspects of Google Maps, and now we're becoming a little bit more kind of technical. Again, it really depends on what you want to do with it. What we're doing with these webinars and this kind of instructional video is that showing you the kind of options available to you and the kind of stuff that the products can do. And If it's relevant to you, then we can go into more detail. And of course, you've got the Google Business Profile and the Google Maps pages that you can get much more support as well as the more detailed information. So here we're talking about things like our 3D representation. We're also thinking about, you know, the dates and not the dates, sorry, the detail that you can put to find different locations which may be tricky to find. We're also thinking about aerial photos. You could have APIs, which are like different ways of integrating Google Maps into your website and other aspects. You've got, for example, on the right-hand side, well, something which was, I think it was called a Solar API, which empowers solar professionals to design panels for your roof even before coming to your house and looking it out. So you could do that kind of stuff with Google Maps in terms of, you know, designing certain aspects of rooftop building, garden building, that kind of stuff with the maps that are available to you. Quite clearly, this is taking to the next level of just having a presence for your shop or your salon or that kind of thing. But Maps platform at google.com is where you can go to find out much more information about the detail of Google Maps to the next level. But just as I summarize all this together and ask you for any questions that you may have, think about what this is all about. You've got Google Business Profile and you've got Google Business Maps, which have been integrated now. The whole purpose of that is to have one place on search that you could have all your different attributes and showcase what you're all about, from your description of your business through to opening times, closing times, how to book a table if that's necessary, what kind of things in terms of attributes that you want to showcase yourself as offering, and a method to find you there, either to get to your location and or to find out where you're located, what's around you. I'm going to be traveling again a little bit later on this week. And as I said beforehand, the first thing I do when I have a few moments is just look it up, usually on a larger screen than a smaller screen, because I like larger screens. And I just work out where that hotel is, where my location is, what I could eat around there, and just visualize everything. And people are doing this all the time. So if you want to promote your own businesses and that kind of thing, this is the kind of mindset to think about in terms of how you can use these tools to promote your business. So at this stage, I'm just going to be quiet for a second, only because if I'm quiet for too long, then people will have said, oh, it's finished and gone away. Just letting you ask questions. So there's myself and there's Annie, like I said. We've got a few moments left. Any questions you like, if you want to ask us, please do, because that's why we're here. And whilst I'm doing that, if I can also just highlight this. So if you want to ask questions, please type your question into the chat box. But also, if you can please take a few seconds, because feedback matters to myself, Annie, because we spend our time and we really care about kind of imparting knowledge to yourselves. And thank you very much for investing your time to be here, to learn from us. But if you can provide some feedback to us, you've got the scan QR code there, and the bit code is there. I won't read it out in case thank you, Annie. She said she's done me a massive favor, because if I read that out, I'll probably read it out incorrectly. But if you can provide some feedback before you go, or in the next few moments after this webinar finishes, that makes a massive difference. I mean, we're not talking about going on an ego trip or anything, but this is us to kind of learn how we've given this information and if it's been received in the way that we intended when we sent it out. So that's the feedback form. In the last minute, if you have any questions at all, please do ask. And I'm going to look out for the post, but as I'm just summing this up, lots of other things on Google Digital Garage, webinars in the description area underneath this video, or where I am at the moment. If you want to follow that and find out what's happening, lots of things there. There's a Google Digital Garage, which also has online training sessions. And there's also an opportunity, if you're based in the UK, to get one-to-one mentoring. But that's all on the Google Digital Garage, and Annie has kindly put that post of the URL there. So at this stage, I'm just going to say, thank you very much for paying attention and learning. I also like to say thank you very much to Annie, who's kept this whole thing going and helping you with the posts of URLs and all that kind of stuff. But what I like to say is, discover these new tools if you haven't already discovered it. If you already know about it, try to find out other things that you weren't familiar with or aware of that these tools can do that might benefit you. But what I like to do, along with Annie, is wish you the very best of luck and keep on doing what you're doing and hopefully upskilling yourself to a better our digital outcome. So at this stage, I'd like to say thank you very much and all the very best, and take care. Good luck. Bye bye now.